There is a quiet crisis unfolding in America, a culture overflowing with comfort, stimulation, consumption, and choice, yet starving for meaning. People chase pleasure as if it were salvation and still end the day restless, exhausted, and unsure why they feel empty. The world keeps telling you that happiness is something you can buy, achieve, touch, or scroll into. But what if everything you've been taught about pleasure and fulfillment has been pointing you in the wrong direction? According to Heraclitus, a dry soul is the wisest. According to Aristippus of Cyrene, pleasure is the highest good. Two ancient voices, two radically different interpretations of what it means to live well. And whether you notice it or not, both are silently shaping the choices you make every single day. America is caught between these two forces, the hedonistic obsession with stimulation at all costs and the Stoic discipline that insists freedom can only be found within. This video is for anyone who feels overwhelmed by the constant noise of modern life. Anyone who senses they've been pushed into a life that looks successful on the outside but feels unstable underneath. Anyone who wants clarity instead of confusion, intention instead of impulse, depth instead of distraction. Welcome to the Stoic Lighthouse. Let the Stoic Lighthouse guide you toward peace and wisdom. Before we continue, hit the like button and subscribe. These teachings reach further when you support this lighthouse of clarity. Pleasure promises quick relief. Stoicism promises inner strength. One is fast, intoxicating, and shallow. The other is slow, stabilizing, and profound. And as you will see throughout this journey, the real question isn't which path is easier. It's which path leaves you free when life strips everything else away. According to Marcus Aurelius, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. According to William B. Irvine, a life focused on pleasure is a life focused on chasing, not living. And according to Chrysippus, it is not the circumstances themselves, but our judgments about them that disturb us. What you are about to explore are not abstract theories. They are tools forged across centuries by thinkers who understood the human mind long before psychology existed. Tools that can protect you from the chaos of modern overstimulation and guide you toward a life rooted in purpose, resilience, and a kind of peace that pleasure alone can never deliver. Number 1. The invisible ruler. Stoic reason versus hedonistic desire. Imagine a throne inside your mind. It is always occupied. The question is never whether something sits there, but what. In America today, that throne is often claimed by impulse, the craving for stimulation, approval, comfort, and the next small hit of dopamine that feels like relief but never becomes peace. Hedonism has become a silent cultural default. If something feels good, it must be right. If it removes discomfort, it must be progress. If it distracts, it must be helping. According to Aristippus of Cyrene, the wise man will enjoy pleasures without being their slave. This is the heartbeat of hedonism, pleasure as compass, desire as ruler. But when desire rules, it is a ruler that never stops demanding more. You give it sugar, it asks for validation. You give it entertainment, it asks for escape. You give it comfort, it asks for greater comfort tomorrow. Pleasure, unchecked, becomes a restless king, persuasive, charming, and endlessly hungry. Stoicism, however, proposes another sovereign. Reason, not cold logic, but the disciplined clarity to see which actions lead to a meaningful life. Stoicism teaches that a good life is not built by obeying every impulse, but by inspecting impulses and responding only to those aligned with virtue. According to Zeno, man's happiness is achieved through the harmony of his inner nature. A Stoic does not fear desire. A Stoic evaluates it. The question is not, does this feel good now? But will this make me stronger, freer, and more honorable tomorrow? According to Epictetus, no man is free who is not master of himself. Modern thinkers echo this. William B. Irvine explains that the undisciplined pursuit of pleasure traps people in a cycle of craving and disappointment. Pleasure always resets. It always demands renewal. It never completes the human being. According to William B. Irvine, desire is a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. Reason, on the other hand, creates stability. When reason rules, choices become intentional rather than reactive. You stop living at the mercy of every notification, every craving, every emotional spike. You begin to choose actions that match the person you aim to become. According to Marcus Aurelius, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Hedonism builds life on shifting ground. Stoicism builds life on foundations no external force can steal. The real question, then, is simple and uncomfortable. Who sits on your inner throne right now? The craving of the moment, or the clarity of a mind that knows what matters? Number 2, the quick truce and the lasting victory. Pleasure has a seductive talent. It quiets discomfort fast. A swipe, a bite, a purchase, a glance, a scroll, and suddenly the anxiety fades, the boredom dissolves, the tension softens. But this relief is temporary, fragile, and endlessly dependent on repeating the same behavior. Modern America has turned this cycle into a lifestyle. Quick fixes have replaced deep solutions. Distraction has replaced direction. Comfort has replaced growth. According to the hedonist Aniceris, even pleasures worth pursuing demand a price. This is the hidden truth of hedonism. Every pleasure carries a cost, and the more immediate the pleasure, the more expensive the long-term bill. The quick truce that pleasure offers feels like peace, but it is only a ceasefire, a momentary pause before the inner conflict resurfaces even louder than before. Pleasure wipes the fog from the window for a second, but the storm is still outside, waiting. Stoicism looks at the same human impulses and sees a different path. The Stoic does not reject pleasure. The Stoic refuses to let pleasure become a substitute for strength. Pleasure is welcome when it comes naturally, but it is never treated as a medicine for an undisciplined life. According to Seneca, it is miserable to depend on what fortune can give or take away. This is why the Stoic victory feels different, slower, harder, and far more permanent. The Stoic trains the mind to tolerate discomfort instead of escaping it, to endure rather than numb, to grow instead of hide. The hedonistic pursuit of immediate relief builds fragility. The Stoic pursuit of virtue builds resilience. Modern psychology now confirms what ancient philosophers knew. In the words of William B. Irvine, pleasure, when pursued for its own sake, has a traitorous nature. It satisfies just enough to leave you wanting more, keeping you trapped in a loop of anticipation, not fulfillment. According to William B. Irvine, we become dissatisfied not because we have too little, but because we expect too much from pleasure. Stoicism counters this by shifting the goal entirely. Instead of asking what will soothe you now, it asks what will strengthen you for life. It directs attention away from what is pleasant and toward what is meaningful. It replaces the short truce offered by indulgence with a lasting victory built on discipline. According to Chrysippus, the good is found in the noble use of reason, not in the chase of sensation. Pleasure works like salt water. It quenches for a moment, then leaves you thirstier than before. Stoic practice works like a deep spring, steady, reliable, and capable of sustaining you even during drought. According to Marcus Aurelius, you will stand firm if you build your life upon what does not change. The world will always tempt you with quick feelings of relief. But only one path leads to a peace that survives chaos. The real reward of Stoic living is not the absence of discomfort, but the presence of inner stability, the kind that cannot be shaken by the shifting demands of desire. Number 3, golden chains. When pleasure quietly becomes a prison, pleasure is clever. It rarely arrives looking dangerous. It comes dressed as comfort, celebration, rest, reward. It whispers that you've earned it, that you deserve it, that repeating it will make life a little easier. But slowly, almost invisibly, what once felt like a choice begins to feel like a requirement. What once felt optional becomes expected, and what once felt light begins to feel heavy. In modern America, this transition is everywhere. The binge that becomes routine, the scrolling that becomes compulsion, the drink that becomes coping, the purchase that becomes identity, the stimulation that becomes silence's replacement. Hedonism offers pleasure as freedom, but for many it becomes a velvet cage. According to Seneca, the more you give the body, the more it demands. This is the paradox he warned about. Pleasure doesn't just satisfy desires, it manufactures new ones. As tolerance increases, the mind craves bigger doses of stimulation to feel the same relief. Psychological research calls this the hedonic treadmill, but the Stoics knew it long before. Indulgence breeds dependency. According to Musonius Rufus, pleasures are like sweet wines, easy to drink and hard to digest. The hedonists themselves were not blind to this danger. Aristippus believed one must enjoy pleasures without becoming their servant. But history and neuroscience show how easily pleasure can reverse the relationship. The master becomes the slave. According to Aristippus of Cyrene, the wise man is he who governs his pleasures, not he who is governed by them. The problem is that many people stop governing. They surrender the controls to impulses that promise comfort but deliver captivity. The chains tighten gradually, a little more checking, a little more consuming, a little more avoiding. Nothing feels alarming in the moment. Yet somehow, freedom shrinks. Stoicism stands in direct opposition to this drift. It insists that the self must remain sovereign. Pleasure may knock on the door, but it never receives a key. According to Epictetus, freedom is the power to choose your own chains. And for the Stoic, the only acceptable chain is discipline, the deliberate shaping of the self toward virtue, clarity, and independence. Discipline does not restrict life, it enlarges it. It protects the mind from external control, whether by people, circumstances, or cravings. Modern thinkers expand this idea. William B. Irvine notes that the more we depend on pleasure to feel okay, the more fragile we become. The Stoic refuses fragility. According to William B. Irvine, the fewer things you need to be happy, the harder it is for life to break you. Pleasure is not the enemy, but dependence is. A life ruled by craving is a life slowly drained of strength. A life guided by reason is a life that cannot be quietly imprisoned. According to Marcus Aurelius, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Hedonism promises delight, but often delivers captivity disguised as comfort. Stoicism offers restraint, but delivers a freedom no indulgence can match. The chains may be golden and soft, shining, almost seductive, but chains they remain. Number 4. The powerful silence. Stoic stillness in a noisy world. America is loud. News alerts, opinions, politics, advertising, notifications, deadlines, pressure, comparison. A constant storm of noise that keeps the mind restless and reactive. Most people don't realize how addicted they've become to stimulation until the moment they're asked to sit in silence. Suddenly, stillness feels unbearable. Quiet feels threatening, and the absence of noise exposes the noise within. According to Heraclitus, it is in stillness that the soul finds its measure. Hedonism thrives in noise. Noise keeps the mind distracted, softened, compliant. Pleasure lands easiest on a mind too overwhelmed to question it. Endless stimulation prevents reflection, and without reflection there is no direction. This is why many live in a state of low-grade mental chaos, not because life is impossible, but because silence has become foreign. The ancient hedonists believed pleasure was the rhythm of life, but if the rhythm never stops, it becomes noise. Anaxagoras argued that certain pleasures require sacrifice, but the modern world flipped the equation. People now sacrifice clarity for constant pleasure. Stoicism restores the balance by treating silence as nourishment, not emptiness. To the Stoic, silence is not the absence of activity. It is the presence of control. It is the space where the mind can sort signal from noise, truth from impulse, strength from reactivity. According to Cleanthes, the tranquil soul is the one that listens to the order of the universe. Stillness sharpens judgment. It exposes unhealthy desires. It reveals which thoughts come from fear and which come from wisdom. In the quiet, you see what truly governs you. Modern Stoic scholars like Pierre Hadot call this the inner citadel, a refuge built through daily exercises of attention and awareness. According to Pierre Hadot, philosophy begins when we learn to look within. The American lifestyle is almost engineered to prevent this inward turning, but the Stoic fights back, not by rejecting the world, but by refusing to let the world dominate the inner space. Stillness becomes a form of rebellion, a reset that allows reason to reclaim the throne from impulse. According to Marcus Aurelius, look within. There is the fountain of good. Silence is not empty. It is full of information about who you are becoming. It reveals what you fear, what you chase, what you avoid, and what you need to confront. The noisy life promises excitement, but often delivers confusion. The quiet life promises clarity, and clarity is the beginning of freedom. In a world that never stops talking, stillness becomes your superpower. Number 5. The body as master or servant. The modern American body lives in a world designed for indulgence. Fast food on every corner, comfort delivered in minutes, entertainment available instantly, climate-controlled everything. The body asks, and the world answers. But when the body receives everything it asks for, it stops being a companion and starts becoming a commander. According to Theodorus the atheist, pleasure is the guide of life. In a hedonistic worldview, the body leads and the mind follows. Hunger means eat. Fatigue means quit. Desire means pursue. Discomfort means escape. But when the body becomes the decision maker, the self becomes fragile. A life directed by bodily impulses is a life constantly negotiating with craving, aversion, and weakness. Stoicism flips this hierarchy. The body is valuable, but not sovereign. It is a tool, strong, resilient, capable, but it is not the ruler. The mind leads, the body follows. According to Marcus Aurelius, the body is a faithful servant, not a wise advisor. Marcus faced chronic pain, illness, and the weight of ruling an empire, yet he refused to let physical discomfort dictate moral or mental choices. For him, mastery over the body wasn't cruelty, it was liberation. When the body no longer commands you, the world loses much of its power to intimidate or manipulate you. According to Musonius Rufus, we maintain the body not for pleasure, but for usefulness. Musonius believed discipline over the body was foundational to a free life. A body trained through restraint becomes reliable. A body indulged without limit becomes unpredictable, emotional, and demanding. Modern psychology agrees. Habits that weaken the body often weaken the mind alongside it. William B. Irvine expands this idea for the modern world by warning that the pursuit of physical comfort at all costs leads to mental brittleness. When people arrange their lives to avoid every discomfort, they lose the ability to withstand even moderate challenges. According to William B. Irvine, discomfort is not the enemy, it is the gym in which resilience is built. The Stoic does not neglect the body, they strengthen it, they respect it, they use it, but they never hand it the keys to their life. Pleasure may seduce the body into laziness, comfort may anchor the body into stagnation, but the mind disciplined and trained, determines whether the body becomes an asset or a liability. According to Epictetus, you are not your body, you are the choices you make with it. When the body rules, the self becomes a prisoner of appetite. When the mind rules, the body becomes a powerful ally. The difference is not small, it is the line between dependence and autonomy, between fragility and stability, between surviving and becoming truly free. Number 6. Pain as an enemy or as a teacher. Most of America has been trained to see pain as a malfunction, something to eliminate, avoid, medicate, or outrun. Physical pain, emotional pain, social pain, all treated as threats instead of signals. Hedonism reinforces this impulse, insisting that the good life is the painless life. But when a culture views discomfort as failure, it raises generations who are fragile in the face of reality. Early hedonists were complex thinkers, not caricatures. They acknowledged pain, but defined happiness in relation to it. Epicurus, often misunderstood, taught that pleasure mattered, but only when pain was absent. According to Epicurus, pleasure is the beginning and end of a happy life. But the Epicurean strategy was withdrawal. Reduce pain by reducing engagement. Minimize desire so you minimize suffering. A life quiet, comfortable, and safe. To many modern Americans, this sounds appealing, yet it often leads to a life that shrinks instead of expands. Other hedonists were far more direct. Hegesias, known as the death persuader, believed life was filled with so much unavoidable pain that happiness was nearly impossible. According to Hegesias of Cyrene, life gives more pain than pleasure. This bleak view still echoes in parts of American culture. The idea that if pain is inevitable and happiness unreliable, the best strategy is to chase short bursts of pleasure wherever possible. But short bursts cannot hold a life together. Stoicism offers a radically different stance. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is information. Pain is training. Pain is the weight that builds the muscle of character. According to Chrysippus, the highest good is not the avoidance of pain, but the excellence of the soul. Pain reveals your attachments. It highlights your weakness. It tests your preparation. And when approached with discipline, pain becomes the most honest mirror of who you are becoming. According to Marcus Aurelius, pain is neither unbearable nor unending if you remember its limits. Stoicism teaches that suffering is not in the sensation, but in the interpretation. Modern psychology agrees. Resilience arises not from avoiding discomfort, but from engaging it with clarity. William B. Irvine explains that voluntary exposure to controlled discomfort is one of the most powerful ways to reduce fear and increase confidence. According to William B. Irvine, when we practice discomfort, we make the real thing far less threatening. Meanwhile, hedonism, when misapplied, turns pain into a monster. It encourages escaping it, medicating it, numbing it. But the things we run from grow larger. The things we confront shrink. The ancient Stoics treated adversity like a forge, a place where heat shapes iron into something stronger. Cleanthes believed that difficulty was essential for forming character. Without friction, nothing becomes sharp. According to Cleanthes, hardship puts the soul to the test and strengthens its virtue. Pain is not pleasant, but it is purposeful. It is a threshold, a doorway, a teacher that does not flatter, does not soften its lessons, and does not lie. Hedonism teaches that happiness is the absence of pain. Stoicism teaches that happiness is the ability to stand firm in its presence. One path makes you comfortable, the other makes you unbreakable. Number 7, the call to virtue, being whole versus being satisfied. America is full of people who feel satisfied for a moment, yet rarely feel whole. Satisfaction is easy. A purchase can give it. A compliment can trigger it. A distraction can imitate it. Satisfaction is shallow by design. It appears quickly and fades quickly. But wholeness, the sense of living in alignment with who you want to be, demands something deeper than comfort. It demands virtue. Hedonism points toward satisfaction. Its logic is straightforward. If something feels good, it improves life. If it reduces discomfort, it is worth pursuing. If it satisfies desire, it must be meaningful. But history shows that satisfaction is the most unreliable form of happiness. It is temporary, impulsive, and dependent on circumstances. The early hedonists debated this dilemma intensely. Cyrenaics believed pleasure was the highest good, yet even they showed hints of concern. According to Aniceris, pleasure is worth seeking, but loyalty and gratitude are worth suffering for. Even within hedonism, the seeds of virtue appear, because life cannot be built on sensation alone. Hegesias warned that pleasure is fleeting and pain inevitable. Thus, satisfaction becomes unstable. Hedonism struggles to answer the question, what sustains you when pleasure disappears? Stoicism answers with conviction, virtue sustains you, integrity sustains you, strength sustains you. These are not momentary sensations, they are lifelong companions. According to Marcus Aurelius, the only wealth you keep forever is the goodness you choose every day. Virtue does not react to the world, it shapes your response to it. A virtuous person may feel pleasure, but is not controlled by it. They may encounter pain, but are not destroyed by it. Their emotional stability comes from within, not from fluctuating conditions. According to Seneca, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future. This is the heart of wholeness, independence from external outcomes. Hedonism depends on the world behaving a certain way. Stoicism frees you from that dependence entirely. Modern thinkers echo this shift. William B. Irvine describes how pursuing virtue instead of pleasure produces a deeper, steadier form of fulfillment, one that doesn't require constant stimulation to survive. According to William B. Irvine, the joy that comes from virtue is quieter, but far more durable. Chrysippus took this even further, insisting that virtue is not simply one component of a good life, it is the entire foundation. According to Chrysippus, virtue alone is sufficient for happiness. In the American pursuit of success, many chase satisfaction, applause, achievement, status, comfort. But these are fragile, they vanish, they betray. Wholeness, however, cannot be taken from you. Wholeness is built from the inside out. Stoicism does not promise constant pleasure. It promises something better: character, purpose, resilience, dignity. The kind of life that remains stable no matter how much the world around you shifts. Satisfaction depends on what you feel. Wholeness depends on who you are. You have walked through two visions of the human experience. One built on the pursuit of pleasure, the other built on the pursuit of virtue. One gives you relief, the other gives you resilience. One satisfies the moment, the other strengthens the soul. And in a world as overstimulated, overwhelmed, and overcommitted as modern America, this difference is not small. It is the difference between living as a passenger of your impulses or living as the author of your life. Hedonism promises escape, but every escape route leads back to the same place, a cycle that must be repeated to work at all. Stoicism offers something hedonism cannot: the ability to remain whole even when life is difficult, uncertain, painful, or out of your control. This is the freedom the world cannot understand, because it cannot package it, sell it, or manufacture it. It can only be built inside you. According to Marcus Aurelius, the obstacle is the way. Freedom is not the absence of limits. It is the presence of inner strength. It is the power to choose your actions regardless of your cravings. It is the ability to remain stable when circumstances are not. It is the capacity to face adversity without collapsing, to pursue what is right instead of what is easy, and to stay grounded even when the world around you shakes. Stoicism does not make life painless. It makes life purposeful, and purpose is the one thing pleasure can never replace. Before we move on, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, which path has shaped your life more, the pursuit of pleasure or the pursuit of virtue? Your reflection might help someone else find clarity too. If this video brought you insight, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs these ideas, and subscribe so you don't miss the next lessons from the Stoic Lighthouse. And speaking of what comes next, our upcoming video explores a story that challenges everything America believes about success. It's about a man who reached the peak of fame, wealth, and influence, and then walked away from all of it. Not because he failed, but because he finally understood what true peace required. The deeper you go into his journey, the more you will question your own definitions of achievement, ambition, and freedom. You won't want to miss it. To close our reflection, here is a final thought from Henry David Thoreau, a voice who understood the cost of chasing the wrong things. According to Henry David Thoreau, the price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. Guard your life well. Choose what is worth exchanging it for. See you in the next video.